Hello everyone, my name is Vittal Prabhu. I'm a faculty at Penn State University. This is work that I jointly did with Jim Sporer of ISSIP. We'll be talking about engineering the 21st century service economy. In particular, our focus will be on the human side of service innovation and all the transformation that's underway with the use of AI, ML, robotics, and automation in general. So the motivation for this work is really try to get an understanding of the human side of the AI ML transformation underway in many aspects of our lives and industries, particularly in service industry, which is about 80% of the US economy, and in other countries too. So there is a mega trend in automation driven by really affordable and rapid increase in computing power. So the data that we are collecting is transforming a variety of service industries and the service systems within them. Last year in 2024, our university and ISSIP collaborated to organize a series of panel discussions that covered 6 service industries. We chose these industries for their broad representation in the economy, healthcare, finance, education, retail and hospitality, supply chain and logistics, energy and IT. So we had panels that discussed each of these topics that were drawn from industry, government, NGOs, as well as academia. Each discussion lasted about an hour and focused on what are the trends underway in that particular industry, what are the tools, challenges, and ways to quantify what is happening. So the objective of this particular talk is twofold. Number one, we want to succinctly summarize the panel discussions regarding the human side of transformation and innovation. So that's what we'll try to synthesize from these panel discussions and share our experience using 2 AI systems to actually do this summary. So this is another way sort of saying, hey, how can we actually beneficially use the capabilities that AI, ML are offering us to further some of the things that we do in day-to-day lives. So we took all these recordings that we have, and these recordings are all on YouTube that are freely accessible, and the references for each of them is cited in the paper. So if you want to dig into any of that, you're welcome to do so. So talking to this wonderful panelists, we really distilled 9 sort of challenges. Some of them overlap, as you will see, but let me go ahead and list them out. The first one was resistance to change. Successful digital adoption requires overcoming cultural resistance and clearly communicating the benefits of new technologies. This is not entirely surprising. Almost with any new change, there's always resistance in human organizations, and we need to come up with effective ways to tackle that. So we're glad to see it there. The next one is somewhat more important. The need for new skills. Digital transformation demands upskilling in both technical as well as soft skills, with current education system may not support fully. So that's something for the educators amongst us to pay attention to. Over-reliance on technology. We should avoid the pitfall of excessive dependence on technology because that could end up weakening critical thinking as well as interpersonal skills. The fourth particular issue that came up is bias and fairness. AI systems can reflect societal biases, making fairness and inclusive essential in their design and deployment. The fifth one was trust and transparency. Building user trust in technology requires transparency in terms of all aspects of governance and explanation of AI decisions. Moving on, data ownership and privacy. Who owns the data? What's the privacy? Do we de-identify the data? What are the security aspects around this? So these are pretty significant issues that need to be addressed to fully leverage and harness these transformations that are underway. Balancing automation and augmentation. Some of the talks really brought this out, that organization must choose when to automate versus when to use technology to enhance human roles. So many believe that it'll really boost human productivity in many of the tasks, and this is something to keep in mind if you're embarking on a project today. Change management, very similar to the first one, but worth repeating it in a different perspective. Effective implementation of innovation depends on structured change management and stakeholder engagement. So this is something that we have learned from a multitude of technology implementations in industry. Last but not the least, human empathy and connection. Technology should enhance, not replace, human elements in service interactions. This is especially true in service industry, which is really distinct from manufacturing because of the human interaction. In terms of our experience with AI systems in summarizing and querying all these videos, we used two sources, two AI platforms, Google's Notebook LM and OpenAI's ChatGPT. To keep the comparisons consistent and fair, we used identical prompts for both, and we were really looking for not just automating the summarization, but also to see, are there any glaring errors, anything surprising? How complex are the responses that are generated by these two AI systems? So what we did was look at two sort of broad categories in terms of qualitative as well as quantitative comparison. So we had three cases. Case A is Notebook LM with videos of the 6 panel discussions as the source. These are the 6 different service industries that we had. There were multiple people on each panel. And then we had several of the panelists interview one-on-one with Jim Sporer. So case B, we included the 6 panel discussions as well as the 17 interviews. Each of these interviews are about 30 minutes long, and I think Jim did an awesome job if you want to take a peek at those. And then case C was ChatGPT, which, as you know, is openly trained, it's trained on openly available sources on the web. So these are the 3 cases, and we wanted to see what are the differences, if any, in the responses. So we used pretty much 2 prompts. First one was, how will robotics automation transform service systems in the future? We gave it to all 3. And then we asked a specific question about the particular industry. How will AI, robotics, automation transform health services and particular industry for service systems in the future? So we just essentially replaced the name of the industry with another one, so we did it for all 6. So here's the comparison. We compared based on total number. We took all the responses, stuck it in Microsoft Word, and did a comparison. Total words, as you can see, for the notebook, it was pretty pithy, about less than 600 words, 550 in case B, 585 in case A. ChatGPT was a little bit more verbose, well over 2,000 words. The Fleisch Kincaid grade level was clearly college level because the response was comparable to an academic paper. So that's something to keep in mind. And as you can see, they're all more or less passive sentences with good representation there. And editor score in Microsoft, not particularly insightful, but we just share it there for what it is there, for what it is worth. So discussion and conclusions. Opinions of expert industry, government and NGO and academics drawn from 6 service industries identified 9 challenges related to addressing the human side of AI ML transformation that's underway. Some of them obviously overlap. The key human elements in the transformation synthesized using AI ML are resistance to change, the need for new skills, over-reliance on technology, bias and fairness, trust and transparency, data ownership and privacy, balancing automation and augmentation, change management, and lastly, human empathy and connection. In terms of conclusions, these challenges were synthesized using off-the-shelf AI systems, Notebook, as well as ChatGPT. Um, there were no glaring errors. That's sort of the good news. And one of the takeaways is that using this technology, we can automate a lot of otherwise very manual and labor-intense tasks to take interview transcripts, panel discussion transcripts, code them, and then compile them. So if you're interested, please dig into our paper. Also for the videos, as I mentioned, are in the references. Thank you for your attention.